Welcome friends, we will continue from the last lecture where we had stopped. So, we are discussing in the last lecture about the international human resource management. This will be the last session of the course of this course. So, I thought we should discuss about the importance of human resource management in international business. It is well understood, everybody knows how important it is, what is the role of human resource, right. Why we are discussing it here, because obviously the complexity becomes very high when you talk about human resource in the international scenario. The point is very simple, that when you talk about international business, today businesses are spread over maybe hundreds of countries, right. For example, companies like Coca-Cola, Gillette, Johnson & Johnson, ABB. So, they are spread up, Siemens, they are spread up in so many different countries, and they are operating in so many different places with different culture, different climate, different political ideology, with different economic condition. And when you when you are working and you have your people out there, or somebody has come to work from outside to India. So, there is obviously there is a challenge, right. So, this challenge we discussed in the last lecture about the political and legal challenges, the economic issues and the cultural challenges. So, how do you talk to them, how do you how would you make them feel comfortable. So, the language and the climate, everything is very important. So, when you talk about international, today we will talk about the international business approaches. So, international business approaches are similar to the stages of internationalization or globalization. Douglas, Wind and Perlmutter advocated 4 approaches: the ethnocentric approach, polycentric approach, geocentric approach and regiocentric approach. So, they said ethnocentric approach is where key positions are filled by the nationals of the parent company. So, what it is very simple, as says ethno is key positions are filled by the nationals. So, people of the locals of the parent company, the local people of this where the company is, that key positions will be filled by them. So, that is a ethnocentric approach. In a polycentric approach, the host country nationals, right, the host country nationals are recruited to manage the subsidiary in their own country. So, here the host country, whichever is the host country, wherever the company is going, the host country nationals are recruited to manage the subsidiary. In a geocentric approach, the best people are recruited, whatever be the nationality, right. So, it feels the whole world is one, so it does not matter. In the regiocentric, the best people are recruited within the region, SAARC, or you can say the G20 summit. So, the SAARC or any the NAFTA, any zone or block for that, right. So, in which the subsidiary operates, example European Union, USA, right. So, you have different regional zones, right. Similarly, what are the types of employees? Now, companies search for prospective employees both from within the country of operations and also outside the country. Now, it recruits 3 category of employees: parent country nationals, so it is largely said as PCN, right. Host country nationals, which is called HCN, and third country nationals. So, what is this parent country nationals, host country nationals, third country, and what is the advantage and disadvantage, we will see slowly. So, when you talk about the parent country nationals, so that means nationals of the country or the parent country where the company is, right. So, when you hire somebody from the parent country nationals, parent country, what is the benefit? So, better familiarity with the parent organization's goals, objectives, policies and practices. So, you are hiring the people from where the company is, right. Easy organizational control and coordination, obviously, because the people you are hiring are from that place where the company is. So, they can easily control and coordinate with their headquarters where the major decisions are taken. Effective communication with the parent country staff. So, that becomes very simple, because these are the people who can easily communicate, and that these people have a worldwide experience, it also sometimes gives a worldwide experience for the employees. So, if you give if these people are hired, they go into different countries and then they share their experiences. So, that is also a good learning for them also. But what is the risk when you have a parent country national concept? So, when the risk is difficulties in adjustment to the foreign language. So, suppose I have heard hired somebody and when he comes here he finds it tough because of the foreign language, the political climate, the cultural and the legal climate, right. The cost involved in selection and training is also very high, right. I want to hire somebody from the parent country where the company is. So, the selection and hiring is also very costly. Impose inappropriate headquarter style. Sometimes people the employees who come from the parent country where the company is, they try to force their ideas, this headquarter styles, and to try to create a sense of difference and discrimination among the employees. So, the ethos, the ethical values are sometimes compromised, and that creates a sense of despair, sometimes a sense of disturbance in the among the employees. And then it also creates a family adjustment issues, right. Similarly, the host country nationals. So, host country, suppose the host country is the country which is where the company now is, for example, maybe it is a subsidiary or the whatever, right. So, when you are hiring somebody from the host country, right, the familiarity with the foreign language, political, cultural and legal climate is one advantage, right. So, there is they know the language well. The cost of hiring would be less because this is the host country, that is where you are hiring from, right. So, creates better career opportunity for the locals. So, the locals get a better opportunity to grow and do well in their career, and they can also respond to the host country's demands very fast because we have hired from the local people. So, they understand the climate much better, the response of the and the importance sometimes also, right. So, understanding the importance and not clinging to the only values always makes them little more smart, agile and faster. But what are the risks? The risks are difficulty in controlling the subsidiaries operations. So, the subsidiaries operations might not be able to control it because the headquarters are at different place and you might not be able to communicate with the parent company well. So, this is the point, difficulty in communicating with the parent company, less opportunity for the host country nationals, this is not MN, host country nationals to gain international experience. So, once you have hired from the host country, so there is no opportunity for them to go less opportunity to go outside and get an international experience. Similarly, the third country nationals we say, that means these are the people who are working from in a let us say in one country, neither they are from the parent company the country, nor they are in the host country, they are working in a third country, right. So, it is like an Indian working for an American company and posted in let us say Australia, right. So, this is the case we are talking about. Now, these people are generally found to have a richer experience, right, because they have lot of experience in going to different countries, that is an advantage. They might be better informed than the parent country nationals, right. And but the risks are that the host country sensitivity. Now, this was an issue which happened with many Indians, right, and the Asian economy, people from the Asian economy. Now, these people were looked at a way that they were eating up the jobs of the localites in many countries. So, the local people of those countries, they become little agitated and they became aggressive towards the Indians and the Chinese, like and that created a problem. So, locals may not get growth opportunities. So, that is why they get angry, right, or they get upset. Now, how is recruitment? What are the recruitment sources? So, at the macro level, if you see ethnocentric recruitment, it sources the human resources for subsidiaries from the parent company nationals. This approach is followed by Procter and Gamble, P&G, Philips, Toyota, etc., like these companies, right. So, what they are doing? The human resource for subsidiaries are from the parent companies nationals. When Philips filled important vacancies by the Dutch nationals, because Philips is a Dutch company, non-Dutch employees referred them as the Dutch mafia. So, right, recruiters feel that the parent country's nationals have a sense of belongingness with the company. So, this is why they are generally hired, right, because they have a sense of belongingness with the company which is in the other country. Recruitment as sources when it as a from a polycentric approach, if you see. Now, it sources prospective employees including senior managers for the subsidiary from the host country, right. So, where they are. So, the nationals and the local nationals. Example, South Pacific Brewery, a subsidiary of Asia Pacific Brewery Limited. So, it hires local people. Coca-Cola Amatil Limited is a subsidiary of Coca-Cola Limited and hires the local people, right. Regiocentric approach similarly, subsidiary sources the prospective employees within the region, right. Bata sources its employees from Southeast Asian region. LG sources its employees from Asian region. So, you can say they hire the people from the Southeast Asian region or the Asian region mostly. Now, the geocentric approach in this, they source all kind of resources like material, parts, finance, human, technology. It sounds odd to put humans in between parts, finance and technology, but the truth is when you hire there is a cost involvement, that is why I have put it here. From all countries in the world, company sources the best prospective employee in terms of suitability for the job from the entire globe. Example, you see Indira Nooyi, the Indian national appointed as CEO of Pepsi Cola Limited, was a very famous personality. She retired I think recently, and you now have as people like Satya Nadal and Sundar Pichai, right, Dinesh Paliwal. So, there are different leaders Indians at the moment. There are a lot of Indians who are in very top positions, leadership positions in across in different MNCs across the globe, right. One reason is very simple, because these MNCs see an opportunity that these Indians can help them to enter into the Indian markets well, and not only that, the Indian leadership talent also has got a lot of expertise with them, right. So, that is the one of the reasons. And when you come to the micro level sources of recruitment, you look at the subsidiaries, the parent company, the campus recruitment that takes place, then the agencies through the consultants, data banks and internship, summer internship or which is given. So, these are some of the micro levels of recruitment, right. So, this is for generally the low level and the front level managers. So, this is how it looks like. So, this is the same thing we have discussed, you can see it later on, right. Selection in IHRM. Now, recruitment helps for identifying the sources of prospective employees and motivating them to apply for the jobs. Most of the MNCs, the multinationals, used to follow selection procedure based on the talent, job duties and job description, right. And majority of employees of international firms normally are expatriates, either from the parent company country national or third country nationals. So, generally the employees of the international firms, they are generally hired from the parent country or from a third country. Looking at the leadership, their ability, their talent, they are hired, right. But the leave is minorities in a foreign countries, right, but they are given all kind of benefits so that they feel comfortable. So, this is how the career cycle of an expatriate looks like, somebody who is staying outside, right. So, you can go through it. So, job in the home country, right, or headquarters. International assignment, offers of an international job is given. So, selection based on job fit, international orientation is checked and training is given if required. So, then the foreign country assignment happens. So, if we and then they deported to the country. If there is a failure, either they are debriefed or they are sent back. If they are successful, they are maybe they obtain permanent citizenship or residentship in a foreign country, that also can happen, and they might work. So, many a times expatriates, they go to another country, and that is a normal condition today. You must have seen people working in the IT sector in India at least. They move outside, they stay in some other country, and after a certain time period they get a green card, and then they maybe settle down in the country in like US and Canada and Australia, and they do not want to move back to the home land, to the mother country. Now, what is the importance when you talk about international business, international human resource? Cross cultural training is a very important issue. Now, what is cross cultural training? Let us discuss about it. It refers to the variety of different training courses, each in essence aims to develop awareness between people where a common cultural framework does not exist. So, somebody is a German, and when he comes to India, he will find a cultural misfit, right. So, it has to be some kind of training given to, some orientation given to them. It has two parallel strands: cross cultural awareness training, cultural country specific training. So, cross cultural as well as cultural specific, right. Cross cultural training deals with the manifestation of culture in the workplace. So, how people of different cultures can work together without any problem. The basis of intercultural relations are not about changing other people, but adapting oneself to the other culture, that becomes a challenge, right. So, there was a case of Daimler Chrysler. So, Daimler Chrysler, Chrysler being the American part and Daimler being the German part. So, when they joined hands, initially they found lot of difficulties. The reason was so very simple, that the culture of both these countries are very different. The Americans are very outspoken, they are not considered to be as punctual as the Germans, and the Germans are very savvy and they are very technically very fit also, and they are very serious in their job. So, this created a kind of difference among the work culture, and that led to a disturbance, right. So, this kind of issues happen when a lot of people work together. Even I have seen in projects, for example, in a lot of L&T projects, when people when people are working. So, there are a lot of Indians and there are also people from other countries like Singapore, Vietnam, Japan. So, there is a difficulty in adjustment to the because of the cultural problems. Cross cultural training can be divided into like education, actual training and coaching. It helps managers understand how culture affect themselves as individuals. To educate the managers to understand how culture affect themselves as individuals, then training is conducted looking at the way the company can manage their workforce. So, it focuses on different ways of management in different countries. So, when you go to different countries, what would happen? So, actual training is given, right. And coaching, it includes consulting, including that for a particular project. So, a particular project, what kind of specific knowledge, skill and cultural knowledge is required, all these are given, right. So, some of the methods, let us see more methods are cultural assimilator is a tool that consists of a number of real life scenarios describing puzzling cross cultural interaction expectations. So, you are this assimilator helps you to go through a real life scenario and then asks you or expects you to behave in a particular or a manner, and then they try to correct you. So, the contrast American method is a method where it involves demonstration of behaviors that are completely opposed to what is seen in the current context of culture. So, if you expect somebody to be very in your culture, suppose in our culture people to be very well behaved and somebody would give a welcome gesture, they would do the opposite of it. So, that how does the person adjust to it when he goes to a place, suppose he does not get this kind of a hospitality or a welcome. Self reference criteria, this method was developed by Lee in 1966, who proposed 4 steps to overcome self reference criteria. I think I have explained what is self reference criteria in the past also. So, self reference criteria is the problem or a criteria where where an individual tries to compare or think everything in the way he or she has been thinking in his home or native place, right. So, whatever I have learned from my culture since my childhood, if I go to another place and I still start thinking things to happen in that way, that is called self reference. So, if suppose I expect that in India we all give respect to our elders or senior or anybody who is a stranger also. So, suppose self reference criteria says if I go other place, I would be thinking that everybody would welcome me and would be treating me well, but that is not true, that is not might happen. So, self reference criteria is to see the world through your own eyes, which is dangerous, and to just standardize it, that is dangerous, it will not happen. So, that is what it says. The first steps involves defining any problem or situation in terms of the expatriate's own culture, followed by definition in the terms of the host culture. So, own culture and host culture. So, how the problem can be defined. The bias created by SRC is analyzed and removed in the third stage, right. So, this is the first stage, followed by definition, second stage, third stage is it is analyzed and removed in the third stage, and then finally a solution is simplified business solution is given in the fourth stage. So, through these 4 stages the self reference criteria is managed or handled, right. Area simulation is another technique which says this, the simulation is creating natural situation of interaction with people with other culture, right. So, other areas, so different areas of people, and they a simulation or a artificial condition is created where they feel like a real life scenario and they are expected to behave and learn out of it. Cultural self awareness model, it includes usage of videotapes with themes and role plays. So, these are the various methods of how cross cultural training can be offered to people who are moving from one country to another. Now, when you talk about international human resource, another issue is the compensation and benefits. So, what are these saying? Rewards can be intrinsic and extrinsic. So, there can be both sides, right. So, intrinsic reward is a feeling of pride of a job well done and achievement. Extrinsic include praise from a supervisor, salary, employee benefits, career progression, etc. Now, compensation is extrinsic reward for an employee, right. Compensation is the amount of remuneration paid to an employee by the employer in return to the employee's service to the company. So, what kind of compensations are given and what is the complexities involved? Let us see the complexities of compensation management. Okay. So, there are various complexities, varying requirement for facilities, right, varying requirements, there are different kind of requirements, exchange rate fluctuations. Somebody has come from, there are two different salaries going, so and the money there is a exchange rate fluctuation, so the money value is going changing, varying tax rates, inflation rates, varying local conditions, country perspectives, consistency and equity. So, the consistency is also has to be there, cost of living and expectations. So, when you talk about expectations, compensation and complexities, it also becomes very important from a company's point of view. When you are hiring somebody and we are bringing them here, how do we compensate and how does he perceive this compensation to be or she perceives this compensation to be. So, now I think you have understood that compensation and complexities arise when you talk about hiring a individual, and that becomes a challenge, because if you do not, if we do not give good compensation or enough compensation, then the person might be unhappy or he might not like to settle down, and then the whole purpose of the human resource management is lost. Okay friends, so I have come to the end of this course. This is a huge course. It has obviously its own complexities because you are talking about international business. It is very important, there is no doubt about it, because you can understand how international business is getting affected nowadays. There are so many different reasons, so many different ways, and the economies of countries are getting affected with somebody says some experts feel globalization is good, some critics say globalization is not good, it is bad. So, in among all this, but we have seen through different theories like Ricardo's theory, and Adam Smith's theory. So, we have tried to understand how international business plays a very vital role, and today if you see in this condition when the corona pandemic is going on and countries are feeling the heat, that too much of dependence of countries on a few countries like China and all has become a difficult situation, has created a difficult situation for them. And how do you manage in this, when it's suppose this condition goes over also, after that how do you settle your manufacturing, how do you settle your human resource, how do you settle the how do you understand the exchange rate fluctuations, how do you understand the country's economic condition, how does the political and legal conditions affect the country, and all this taken together, when you think about it, international business becomes a very important factor, and believe me, if international business is not well understood, then the purpose of many subjects would be lost, because at the end of the day it is international business that has a big impact on the economy of countries, and this economy of the countries is one which runs, which takes care of the livelihood, the poverty, the malnutrition, the condition of people, the human the medical facilities, everything that you can think of, that is directly or indirectly connected with international business, because through that only we can understand how much economy is growing, how much wealth is being created in a country. So, all this makes it a special subject and it is very important. So, I have tried to give my best to you. If there is any limitation, I think we can solve it through your questions when you ask me, and I will try to answer you all. So, that is all I have. Thank you very much.